When hundreds of games come out every single day, it's not surprising that year after year we end up with a huge pool of incredible titles that engage in a violent battle for your free time. And at the end of each of those years, we arbitrarily crown some of them the best even though your average Joseph has hardly played any of them at all. So that's why this year I'm here to tell you all about the best games I did play of 2025. Number 5. Clover Pit. While everyone is still stuck on Balatro, I found a kind of variation on the gambling but not really gambling and also something weird is going on genre. Set in a supremely odd prison cell featuring a slot machine, telephone, coin depository, and a trapdoor leading to a probably dark and gruesome death, your task is to generate cash and meet ever-increasing goals in a limited number of rounds. Of course, in order to meet those lofty goals, you'll equip a broad collection of random knickknacks with the miraculous power of slot machine manipulation to increase luck and probability, multiply payouts, and put entirely new money-making schemes into this mechanical monstrosity. The magic of creating a build with a crazy number of rules while also still having RNGesus guiding the hand of your one-armed bandit means you can easily shift between a deadly run only moments after starting to one where you're churning out hundreds of millions of coins with a mere glance at those spinning wheels. And while it's certainly pretty close to being as addictive as real gambling, you don't have to worry about losing any more than its paltry purchase cost, and since it does have something resembling an ending, you can also play other games when you've been left fully satisfied. Number 4. Cleared Hot. In my ongoing journey to relive my entire childhood, but with the money of adulthood, I've been chasing the nostalgia of getting my ass aeronautically assaulted like I did with the Strike series, and I finally found the closest thing I've seen since 1994. There's something majestic about flying around in a heavily armed helicopter, absolutely annihilating everyone that dares look up at you with ill intent. Cleared Hot provides that in every single one of its currently available missions and gives you a wide range of angry autogyros to fit your personal preferences in delivering that mayhem. Whether you need to pick up more passengers, dodge some high-speed assholes, or hand-deliver an outrageous number of explosions, you'll be able to jump in the perfect vessel for each assignment delivered in the southern twang of a Texas mystery agent. But the least appealing part of this game is probably also the part that holds the most promise, and that's that it's not a particularly grand adventure at the moment. But in a perfect execution of an early access experience, the game has everything it needs to be fun in its current format, and the roadmap is mostly a guide to future content to give me more of what I enjoyed in the nostalgia-tickling path of jungle and urban after this desert delight. Number 3. Jump Space. In another masterclass of what early access should be about, Jump Space brings to the table that intense thrill of running around a ship in the midst of space combat, literally putting out fires and keeping that thing from ripping in half and making your gravestone a random piece of indecipherable space debris. In the familiar but increasingly relevant story of humans versus out-of-control self-replicating AI robots, you'll head out on PvE objective-based missions that are evocative of the perpetually wonderful Deep Rock Galactic. But instead of being relegated to bashing those bad bots on foot, you'll also be blasting those bad bots in the void of space through the power of teamwork and giant cannons. Spending similar amounts of time either piloting or maintaining a ship in space combat and exploration as you do venturing through stations, facilities, and caves on foot makes for a level of dynamic gameplay that's hard to match. While neither is quite on par with games more dedicated to each particular type of gameplay, both are already being improved as this early access game fills out its pool of content with more mission types, objectives, environments, weapons, gadgets, and collectibles. And outside of Star Citizen, I don't think there's a game that better captures how crazy it feels to run around a life-size ship with functional parts and having a meaningful purpose other than just looking out the window. And it even surpasses it in some regards with how much of an impact you can actually have on those ships. The world of 4-player co-op PvE games that people sink hundreds of hours into is always growing, but this is one that's only going to get better on its way to its full release. Number 2. Tempest Rising. I won't pretend like nostalgia wasn't a little bit of a factor in my appreciation for this game, but the languishing Command & Conquer franchise has had plenty of mediocre third-party attempts to capture the magic of the past and even a few from EA itself. Tempest Rising did more than just try to remind you of the good old days though. It took the bones of the classic mouse button destroying RTS gameplay and gave it great visuals, fresh design in the strategy and tactics, and most importantly for me, a setting, story, and characters that made the campaign significantly more fun. The thing that originally pulled me into a genre that historically I've always sucked horribly at was less my inability to micro units or keep track of both my attacking force and resourcing at the same time. It was mostly the part where, when I finally did win a mission, I'd get to see how my advance of GDI into Nod territory played out on the map, or watch a goosebump-inducing cutscene with Tassadar destroying the Overmind. And Tempest Rising gives you pretty much all of that throughout, except for the beautiful cheese of FMVs that CNC used to serve on a chilled platter. All while still bringing you a high-quality RTS experience with a great soundtrack and so many different types of units that you won't even know what you're ushering to their death until you sort through the ashes. Number 1. Donkey Kong Bonanza. There was precisely nothing that made me want to purchase or even play this game when it was first announced. I was at a loss for why a new Nintendo console was launching with a 3D platformer that wasn't one of their modern flagship franchises that have been so universally popular like Mario or Zelda. Yet it only took a few minutes of thrusting my giant gorilla fists into the rocky soil to realize I was completely wrong. Donkey Kong Bonanza did everything right for me. It let me break pretty much everything I could see, which is inherently cool. It let me spend hours exploring an open world, relentlessly rewarding me for every other chunk of ground I shattered. It constantly led me to new, visually and mechanically distinct worlds every time I even thought I might be getting tired of the current one. And it slammed track after track of incredible upbeat music into my ear holes that I assumed the composer thought he was making for at least 3 or 4 different games. Of course, all of this was to be expected because this game was the product of the same team that made Mario Odyssey, as well as a long list of some of the best Nintendo titles. So despite this game not appearing to be one of the foundations upon which a new console launch would comfortably begin its life cycle, it was, for me, even better than the game that it succeeded spiritually. Spiritual successors successfully succeeding games spiritually seems like the theme for many of my selections this year though. Perhaps it's just a coincidence, or maybe after the seemingly thousands of years I've been alive, I'm subconsciously seeking these things out. Whatever the case, 2025 was yet another great year for games, but a year where I didn't play even a fraction of the titles I was interested in. However, if you are curious about the best games I didn't play this year, check them out here. Just make sure to high-five Mega Supporter Adam Watke on your way out.